Good morning, afternoon, or evening, cats and dogs. Today's video comes from the lesson 1.3 guided notes on converting unit rates. We're going to talk about how to convert unit rates using a method called dimensional analysis. It is the process of including units of measurement as factors when you compute. For example, since you know that 1 hour equals 60 minutes, you can use the conversion factor 1 hour over 60 minutes or 60 minutes over 1 hour. And we will talk about when we put the hours on top versus in the bottom as we go into our examples. Please note that the last page of your guided notes includes, like lesson 5.2, or sorry, not 5.2, 1.1 and 1.2's guided notes, it includes the metric and customary systems you're going to need for this lesson. So feel free to refer to that page as needed throughout this lesson. So let's go ahead and get started with our first two examples, and these are going to be examples where we convert one unit of measure. I do want to read through the examples that are already typed up for us just to walk through these problems. So example 1, we're converting 45 miles per hour to miles per minute. So we are converting our hours to minutes. That's going to be really important for us. So I start off, I'm given the unit rate of 45 miles per hour, and I write that as a fraction, 45 miles over 1 hour. Since I'm converting hours to minutes, I look up the conversion between hours and minutes. I know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. In fact, I'm going to type that out right here. So 1 hour equals 60 minutes. Now, I just need to figure out whether the hour goes on the top or goes on the bottom. Well, in this case, the hours is on the bottom of this fraction right here. See where my mouse is? I want hours to be on the top here. That way they cancel out. If I have one on the top and one on the bottom, I can get rid of them. So I cross off just my unit of measure. I don't cross off the number that goes with it, but just that unit of measure. So I put 1 hour on top, 60 minutes on the bottom, and again, it's this exact conversion rate. Then I multiply straight across. I end up with 45 miles since the hours crossed off, and then 60 minutes since the hours crossed off down here. So I'm looking for the number of miles per minute. Take 45 divided by 60, and it gets me 0.75 miles per minute. Let's look at example 2. The average teen spends $650 per year on cell phone apps. How much is this per week? So as we're looking at this, we're given a unit rate of $650 per year. We're trying to find how much this is per week. So we're converting years into weeks. So we need to recognize that 1 year is 52 weeks. And I'll make this a little smaller for us so it doesn't take up quite as much space. But if 1 year is 52 weeks, then we're going to start off with our unit rate that is given, $650 in 1 year per year. And we want to use the 1 year and 52 weeks. So since I have years on the bottom and I want years on the top. So I've got years down here. I'm going to put years on the top of this one again so they cancel out as long as one is on the top, one is on the bottom. I'm not talking about the number one. I'm talking about the label year and the label year here. So 1 year is equivalent to 52 weeks. Each of these other fractions that I'm going to highlight here in green, this one right here and this fraction right here, they represent our conversion rate. So that's really important for us. It just matters whether the 1 is on the top or the 52 is on the top again. These labels are going to be diagonal from each other. So we get $650 on the top, 52 weeks on the bottom. Take 650 divided by 52 to get the amount per week. That will get us 12.5, which is $12.50 per week. All right, let's take a look at our examples here. Number 1, a company can produce 1,250 gallons of ice cream per minute. How many gallons can they produce each hour? So the unit rate that we're given is gallons per minute. So this is what's given to us. So I'm going to start off by writing 1,250 gallons over 1 minute. Now, keep in mind that I want to convert the number of minutes. This is how many gallons can they produce each hour. I want to convert that to hours. So I need to recognize that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, or 1 hour equals 60 minutes. Now, since I have minutes on the bottom here, I want minutes to go on the top. So 60 minutes is going to go on the top here. 1 hour will go on the bottom. This conversion rate, again, that I'm going to highlight in green, that's going to be our second fraction after the unit rate that is given to us. So 60 minutes in 1 hour. My label of minutes will cancel out. Again, it's not the number 60, it's the label. So we'll get the number of gallons per hour, which is what I'm looking for. How many gallons can they produce each hour? And I get that by taking 1,250 times 60. The denominator is just 1. That's going to get us 75,000 gallons per hour. Again, 1,250 times 60 gets me that solution. Let's take a look at number 2. The average teen spends 1,820 hours per year on their cell phone. How many hours per week is this? So the unit rate that we're given is 1,820 hours per year. We want to convert the number of hours per year to hours per week. So the years is going to change to weeks. So we need to recognize that 1 year is 52 weeks. Now I have year down here, so that means I want years on the top. So I want years on the top here, 52 weeks on the bottom, and again, it's just taking this conversion and making it into a fraction. Oops, I should highlight that in green for us. It's going to look green once I highlight over it. So again, my unit of measure can cancel out here. We'll get rid of the years. So we'll get the number of hours per week, which again, it says how many hours per week is this? So we have 1,820 hours on the top, 52 weeks on the bottom. Remember that a fraction bar represents division, so take 1,820 divided by 52, and this will get us 35 hours per week. All right, I have 2 I want you to try. Go ahead and pause the video someplace where you have some space. Try these 2 questions. When you're ready, go ahead and start the video again, and we'll look at your solutions. All right, so for number 1, we want to convert 20 gallons per minute to gallons per hour. So we start off by writing 20 gallons per minute, our unit rate that is given to us. We know that we want to convert the minutes to hours. I'll go ahead and circle those. So we want to convert minutes to hours. So minutes is going to go on top, and I need to recognize that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. And again, these conversions are listed on the last page of your guided notes. So minutes is going to go on the top, hours on the bottom. We'll be able to cross off the minutes, not the 60 though. This will get us the number of gallons per hour, which is what I want. So take 20 times 60. That's going to get us 1,200 gallons per hour. All right, number 2, convert 4,420 hours per year to hours per week. Start off with our unit rate, 4,420 hours per year, and set that up as a fraction. Now, we are trying to convert our years to weeks. So just like in our previous questions, again, you're going to notice they line up pretty closely. 1 year is 52 weeks. So that conversion rate is going to go in our second fraction. I want years on the top though, since I have years on the bottom here. So 1 year is equivalent to 52 weeks. And again, you can't switch the 1 and the 52. It's 1 year is 52 weeks. Years has to go on top to cancel with the other years. We want the number of hours per week. So we have 4,420 hours on the top, 52 weeks on the bottom. Divide those to get our final solution, and we will get 85 hours per week. Again, really good practice for us to convert just 1 unit of measure. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is converting more than 1 unit of measure. So instead of just having 2 fractions, we're actually going to have 3 of those. So in example 3, we're converting meters to centimeters and minutes to seconds. So we're actually making 2 different conversions. Now, these are not written as word problems. I'm going to just walk through the examples that aren't already completed for us, but feel free to look at the examples above numbers 3 and 4 as well to help you. So number 3, I'm converting 40 centimeters per second to meters per minute. And you might also wonder, like, when is this useful? Well, this is sometimes used in science or physics, for example, where you're trying to convert, and you actually use this quite often. I had this discussion a few years ago with another math teacher that this dimensional analysis thing that we're talking about here is used a lot in science classes. So it's something you will probably see in the future, especially in your high school science courses. So I'm trying to convert centimeters to meters. Let's start there. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this in yellow for us. But the very first thing I want to do is, and everyone should have this fraction, is write my fraction that's given, 40 centimeters per 1 second, or per second, as a fraction. Now, for the yellow highlighted stuff, I have to recognize that there are 100 centimeters in a meter. Do you need to memorize that? No. It is on that chart where you have all of your conversions for metric and customary system right in your guided notes. Now, since centimeters is on the top, I want centimeters to be on the bottom. So I put 100 centimeters on the bottom, 1 meter on the top. Again, this allows me to cross off the centimeters here, and I'll be left with meters, which is exactly what I want. The other thing that I need to convert is seconds to minutes. So I have to know how many seconds are in a minute. Well, you guys count them down all the time in class. There's 60 seconds in a minute. I've got seconds on the bottom here, so I want 60 seconds on the top here. And again, that will help me cross this out here and here, not the 60, keep the 60 there. What am I going to be left with? Well, I'm going to let me highlight it in blue instead of circling it. I've got meters per minute left, which is exactly what I want. So let's multiply straight across. 40 times 60 is 2400. 100 times 1 times 1 is 100, and again, it's meters per minute. 2400 divided by 100 is 24 meters per minute. Again, notice how one of my fractions is this right here. So that's going to be this fraction that I highlighted. Well, I didn't highlight, but I put a yellow dot above it. And then my second fraction is going to be this right here. I'll put a green dot above that. Now, could you flip-flop the order of all of these fractions? Absolutely. I just usually start with the first one and go from there. Let's take a look at number 4. We've got 180 inches per minute. We are trying to convert to yards per hour. So first things first, let's start with our 180 inches per minute as our first fraction. Notice how we have multiplication signs between these fractions because we are multiplying. They should not be equal signs. I often see students who put equal signs between. That's not what we're looking at here. Oops, I wanted to highlight in yellow. Let me fix that. So our first conversion that we have here is, let's do inches to yards. If you know that there's 3 feet in a yard and there's 12 inches in a foot, there are 36 inches in a yard. I don't remember if that conversion is on your guided notes. Let me take a quick peek. Yeah, it just gives you that 1 yard is 3 feet, and of course we know a foot is 12 inches. So take 12 times 3, there's 36 inches in a yard. Now since inches is on the top here, I want my 36 inches to go on the bottom of this fraction. Whoa. So I've got 36 inches here. I'm going to be able to cross off my inches, and I'm going to be left with yards, which is what I want. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that in blue. So I'm going to be left with this. We also need to convert minutes to hours. So of course we know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Count those down as well. I've got minutes on the bottom here, so I want minutes on the top of this fraction. So 60 minutes over 1 hour. Now again, since we have minutes on the bottom, minutes on the top, I can cross off that label, and I am going to be left with hours. So I'm going to be left with yards per hour, which is exactly what I want right here. So if we take 180 times 60, that will get us 10,800 yards on the top, 36 hours on the bottom. Now finish by dividing. We take 10,800 divided by 36, and we get 300 yards per hour. All right, let's take a look at a couple more, and then you'll have a chance to try this on your own. So we have 80 gallons per day. We are converting to quarts per hour. So start off with your 80 gallons per day as your first fraction. Again, that's given, so that should be really easy to start with. We are trying to convert gallons into quarts, so we need to recognize that there are 4 quarts in 1 gallon. Since I have gallons on the top here, I want my 1 gallon on the bottom here. So 4 quarts will go on top. That will allow me to get rid of our gallons and leave me with quarts, which is exactly what I want. And we're also going to be converting days to hours. So of course we need to know that there are 24 hours in 1 day. Since days is on the bottom, I want my 1 day on the top here. So 1 day is 24 hours. Cross off day. We're going to be left with hours. So we're going to be left with quarts per hour, which is exactly what I want. So keep double checking that. Take 80 times 4 is 320 quarts on the top. 1 times 1 times 24 is 24 hours on the bottom. Take 320 divided by 24. You will get a repeating decimal, which happens sometimes, not often, but 13.3 repeating quarts per hour. And again, don't forget to double check this in your calculator. Practice plugging this in as we walk through it. All right, number 6, 80 miles per hour, we are converting to feet per minute. Start with 80 miles per hour as your first fraction. We are converting miles to feet. So, of course, we need to know there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. So since miles is on the top, the 1 mile is going to go on the bottom here. It means 5,280 feet will be on the top. So that will help us get rid of the miles, and we'll be left with feet. The second thing that we need to convert is we need to convert hours to minutes. So we need to know that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. We have hours on the bottom here, so we want our 1 hour on the top here, 60 minutes on the bottom. Hours will cancel out. We are left with a label of minutes on the bottom. So we'll be left with feet per minute. So take 80 times 5,280, which gets us 422,400 feet on the top, 60 minutes on the bottom. Divide to get our final solution. You will get 7,040 feet per minute. All right, let's give you a chance to try 3 of these on your own. Again, pause the video, give these 3 questions a try, and when you're ready, start the video and we'll go through these. All right, so number 1, we need to convert 60 miles per hour to feet per minute. You should have gotten, oddly enough, 5,280. Start off with your 60 miles per hour. Let's convert our miles into feet. There are 5,280 feet in a mile. I need to have miles on the bottom though, so these cross off. So the 5,280 feet goes on the top. We also need to convert hours to minutes. And of course, there are 60 minutes in an hour. So I need to have 1 hour on the top and 60 minutes on the bottom. So we'll cross these out. Notice how we are left with feet per minute, which is exactly what I want. Take 60 times 5,280. This will get you 316,800 feet on the top, 60 minutes on the bottom. Divide to get your solution, and you will get 5,280 feet per minute. All right, number 2, 20 quarts per minute, convert it to gallons per hour. Start by writing 20 quarts per 1 minute. And we need to convert quarts to gallons. There are 4 quarts in a gallon. I need 4 quarts on the bottom though, so we can cross these guys off, leaving me with gallons. We also need to convert minutes into hours. Of course, there are 60 minutes in an hour, but I need that 60 minutes on the top. So we'll go ahead and cross off our label of minutes here. And we are left with gallons per hour, which is exactly what I want here. So 20 times 60 is 1,200. 4 times 1 times 1 is 4. 1,200 divided by 4 gets us 300 gallons per hour. Sorry, I should have shown that earlier what the solution was. Number 3 might have been a little bit of a struggle with you because of converting seconds into hours. You actually get a repeating decimal for this one. Start with 20 feet per second as your fraction. Now the first part's probably pretty easy. Convert feet into miles. 5,280 feet in a mile. 5,280 feet needs to go on the bottom. We'll leave miles here on the top. So 1 mile, 5,280 feet. Now, seconds into hours. You have to figure out how many seconds are in an hour. You should know. You guys count it all the time at the end of class. 60 times 60 is 3,600 seconds per hour. 3,600 seconds goes on the top. Again, I get that by doing 60 times 60. 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour will get us 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. I am left with my labels of miles per hour, which is exactly what I want here. 20 times 3,600 is 72,000. On the bottom, we have 5,280. Divide those to get 13.63 repeating miles per hour. Now, your calculator might put a 4 at the end to round that last 3 up to a 4, but it's not really there. And again, this one's kind of like that question we saw where we were converting between, I think it was inches and, let me find it, it was question number 4. We were converting between inches and yards. So you had to do a little bit of work to get that conversion there. So that one was a little tough. If you did well with numbers 1 and 2, but maybe struggled a bit with number 3, no need to panic there. It's a little trickier. All right, we've got a couple of word problems related to this as well. So I'm going to skip right down to number 7 and 8. These are our last 2 questions for this video. Let's begin with number 7. A cheetah can run short distances at a speed of up to 75 miles per hour. How many feet per second is this? So we want to start off, we are given 75 miles per hour. Write that as a fraction. we know we want to convert, let me go ahead and circle these here. We want to convert miles to feet. So we need a conversion between miles and feet. Well, there are 5,280 feet in 1 mile. We need miles to be on the bottom. So 5,280 feet on the top, 1 mile on the bottom. We also need to convert, I'll go ahead and circle this as well, hours to seconds. So this is kind of like that last question we saw. There are 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. Again, we get that by taking 60 times 60. So hour is going to go on the top, 3,600 seconds on the bottom. We'll multiply straight across. 75 times 5,280 gets us 396,000 feet. How? Well, the miles cancel out, the hours cancel out. We are left with feet on the top. I'll highlight that in blue. And it's really just the same as what we already saw, just in the form of a word problem. And then we're left with seconds on the bottom. So we have 3,600 seconds. Divide those to get an answer of 110 feet per second. Finally, number 8, Melanie walks at a speed of 6 feet per second. So let's start with that fraction, 6 feet per second. There we go. We want to convert feet into, feet stays as feet. So we're only going to have one fraction here after this 6 feet to 1 second, or 6 feet per second. So we actually don't need to convert that at all. In fact, we need to convert seconds. Let's see if I can move that over, see if it'll let me do that. Sort of. So we need to convert our seconds into hours. That'll be a little bit better for us. There we go. So if we're converting seconds to hours, we need to keep in mind this conversion rate over here. There's 3,600 seconds in 1 hour. So 3,600 seconds goes on the top, so I can cross these labels off. We are going to be left with feet per hour, which is exactly what I want. Okay, feet per hour. We've got feet per hour left. All we need to do is take 6 times 3,600. You don't even need to write this fraction, but you get 21,600 feet per hour. I always forget that last one's actually a little easier than the previous one. All right, of course, this is something we'll see more of in class as well, just to reinforce this information. Thanks for listening.